Monday edition of Nailed It, presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Also, Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com, and ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. In transit edition, I was getting ready to fire up Morning Scone from the office a bit ago, the home office, and some of you might have seen us go live at that point. But was getting ready to fire up Morning Scone, had a little situation arise, nothing big deal, but and so I was like, oh well, I could either do like a really like 5-minute Morning Scone from the house, or just do an in transit edition. So here we are, an in transit edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock. Hope you had a great weekend. Pels won again last night, back to back. They beat Sacramento there at the Blender. So Lakers Saturday, Kings Sunday. That was great to see. And not only can't turn out of the neighborhood this morning. Not only was it great to see the Pels snap the losing streak Saturday, of course, against the Lakers, but you beat a couple of teams that are very much in the mix in the Western Conference. So you get 2 wins. You beat the Lakers and the Kings, and rallying like you did against the Lakers was great. And then yesterday was total domination. I mean, you whipped the Kings by 30, but you did it without Brandon Ingram and without Jonas Valanciunas, and obviously still no Zion. So, you were without C, and you rested 2 starters, and you still managed to win by 30, which was awesome. So, I feel like you can kind of exhale now. You know what I mean? Like when you're in the midst of a 10-game losing streak, you're kind of sitting there wondering, like, are we ever going to win a game? Like, when is it ever going to happen again? So, anyway, I was excited to see that yesterday. Had a good weekend. Hope everybody else did as well. And now it is Super Bowl week. So I like this week, especially on radio. We get a chance to catch up to a lot of, former Tigers or Saints or guys that played the Super Bowl and talk Super Bowl memories, playing in the game, all that stuff. So I do like this week a lot on radio. We'll do a lot of that. All right, coming up to a red light. Let me say some good mornings while we stop. All right, Wendell Norman, Lucy B, good morning. Keith H, good morning from London. H-Town Creole, good morning. We have a Drew sighting. There he is. Devin Kelly, good morning. Can I say I couldn't care less about LeBron breaking the scoring record, yawn? I'll say this, Devin. By the way, shout out Brian Wynn. Looking forward to the big game. And there's a football game right after that. Oh, the big game Sunday. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the Lady Tigers taking on South Carolina. Bill Gallion, good morning. So back to Devin mentioning the LeBron scoring record. This might be predictable for some to hear me say this, but I'll just kind of give you my take on it. I love watching history. Obviously, don't remember seeing Kareem break the scoring record. Definitely didn't, get to watch Wilt Chamberlain play. And, the other guy that at one point held the scoring record was LSU's Bob Pettit. So, I think when you have an opportunity to watch history, even if you don't like the player, which is fine, or, a team, like when the Patriots run their incredible run, I think you watch and you appreciate watching greatness, because it's why we watch sports, man. We watch, we have allegiances, we have teams that we cheer for and all, but we also like to watch humans do extraordinary things, right? Like the example I always give is Barry Bonds. I didn't watch Hank Aaron hit 715 and break Babe's record. So when Barry Bonds hit 756, I made sure to watch, and I have a memory of that I'm sure I'll keep forever. he hit it off of Mike Bassick of the Washington Nationals, and he hit it to left center, and I'll probably remember that forever. You know, so I'll watch. Yeah, man, I'll watch LeBron. Some records are greater than others. Some ground is more hallowed than others. Like, baseball sort of marries itself to numbers more than any other sport. Like, we know the number, 715, 755, 756, 3,000 hits, 500 homers, 300 wins. Like, baseball is more of a numbers driven game. But I will, man. I'll watch LeBron at home. I believe it's Tuesday, right? Man, y'all, interstate is crazy. Like, I had cracks in my windshield, and the cracks were just running all over. So I had to get my windshield replaced. So, like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago, I bring my car, whatever, Safe Light, you get the windshield replaced. Literally a week later, rock hits the windshield. I have a ping in my windshield. Crazy. And I just heard another rock hit, but I don't think it cracked anywhere. Anyway, so LeBron, I'll watch. I think they play Tuesday, right? I think he should break it at home against Milwaukee, if I'm not mistaken. Or is it tonight? I need to check the schedule. I really don't know offhand. So, but I am excited to watch. I am excited to watch and see history. Like when the Cubs won the World Series in 2016, I watched that. Just because it had been 100 years, man. The lovable losers, right? And they finally broke through and won. So kept an eye on it. Trivia Carter, good morning. Brian Penton, good morning. Larry Garner, what's going on? Nothing better than a warm pint in the Scone. You know what, Keith? I guess in London, what time is it there? Let's see if it's 8 o'clock here. What are you, like 3, 4 in the afternoon, something like that? Let's see. Boo Daddy said LeBron or Jordan. See, that's easy for me. I think LeBron could play any of the 5 positions on the floor at an elite level. I think he can play the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5. He can bring it up. He can bring the ball up the court and run the offense. He could be a shooting guard. He can play in the wing. He obviously is explosive enough to be power forward. In this NBA, I guess he could play center because you don't really see many true centers anymore. Guys like Jokic and Valanciunas are kind of a rare breed in today's NBA. But for me, I don't know. The league's never seen a more dominant player than Jordan. Where the competitive fire burned like it did, and there was just never any doubt who was getting the ball, and he was going to deliver. I mean, he's the greatest. But I will say for LeBron, and by the way, hat tip Terrio. If you missed it on Friday, Terrio wrote his letter to Michael Jordan, and he said some things very appropriately, like LeBron gave himself the nickname King James. Michael Jordan never gave himself a nickname. And still to this day, when anybody says MJ 23, be like Mike, everybody knows what you're talking about. 20 years after the guy retired. So, transcendent, the greatest, always give him. If I'll put it, here's what I would say. In their prime, Jordan and LeBron are playing a game of one-on-one. I'd pick Jordan every time. Because he was always one of the most underlooked parts of Jordan's, or overlooked parts of Jordan's game, was how great of a defender he was. I mean, he was always NBA All Defensive Player of the Year, all that sort of stuff. He wasn't just a scorer. He was so bought in defensively. All right. Anything else? Kind of a slow morning here. Oh, Nikki C asking about Kevin Steele. That's really interesting, man. So for those that missed it, um, Kevin Steele is the new defensive coordinator at Alabama. So if you didn't follow along, um, Pete Golding left Alabama for Ole Miss. A lot of people asked if he was forced out. He was not forced out. That was a situation where, and I know this because Pete Golding is from Hammond. His folks still live in Hammond, and there's a lot of people that I know very close to Pete Golding. Um, his wife lives. I'm sorry, his wife's family lives just outside of Oxford. So it was a couple things. It was an opportunity to move closer to her family, but also, let's get real, working for Nick Saban, we all know the stories about assistants working for Nick. So um, it was probably just time. He got to go work with Lane Kiffin, with whom he was on staff at Alabama, so a guy he knew. You kind of get out of the Saban shadow, off of the Saban treadmill, and go carve your own path. So that's number one. Pete Golding leaving was very much a Pete Golding decision and not a Nick Saban forcing him out. The Kevin Steele hire, I think, is a good one. Kevin Steele he's a sharp guy. He's a smart defensive coordinator. He is been able to transition with the times from when he was at LSU and then going to Auburn, obviously, and he just spent the 1 year at Auburn, but the 1 year at LSU, excuse me. The interesting thing I'll tell you about Steele, and this may make sense a little bit. I remember this convo when he left LSU for Auburn, and this is something a lot of fans may not consider because it's never really written about when coaches take jobs. But when you work at a public institution, you are a public employee, so you're a state employee, which means you can qualify for retirement in that state. And I remember when Kevin Steele went to work when he left LSU for Auburn, he was like a year away or something like that or 2 years away from qualifying for retirement in the state of Alabama. And apparently Alabama's state retirement for teachers or for people in education is like rocking. It's like some percentage of the average of your highest pay. And so if you're like $1 million coordinator, I mean, it's, so now I think, and the other thing too is his brother, if I remember correctly, Kevin Steele's brother was like on administration at Auburn. So it was a chance to be close to his brother and get back in the state of Alabama where he could get retirement. Excuse me. So that's why Kevin Steele primarily, and then maybe he and Les just didn't see eye to eye on a lot of stuff. So there was a lot of reasons why it made sense. So then obviously the staff got blown out there at Auburn, and he ended up going to Miami for this past year. But now he's back in the state of Alabama. So someone asked, is that a transitional hire? Probably. Like Kevin Steele at this point in his career, I don't think it's someone that's going to spend the next 5 years as Alabama's defensive coordinator. I don't know that he's going to coach 5 more years, but I don't know if Nick's going to coach 5 more years, right? Nick's 70, so how much more do all these guys have? So we'll see how that all plays out. But I think that's maybe part of the reason Kevin Steele going back. I think Kevin Steele defensively is he's a really sharp defensive coach, and I think he'll do fine in that role at Alabama. But it is interesting, man. I think the other thing I would say is when has Nick ever had a bad situation at defensive coordinator, right? Kirby, Pruitt, Golding, Steele, Nick's the defensive guru, right? He's the guy that's kind of keeping his thumb on that side of the ball. So however it goes, you just expect him to be fast and athletic and talented and good defensively. But it is interesting. It's an interesting hire. I'm more interested from Alabama's perspective in the Tommy Rees hire. I think because Nick does let his his coordinators run their offense. Is Tommy Rees really ready for that? Um, with the pressure cooker in Tuscaloosa, we'll see. Well, better athletes than he did in South Bend. All right, y'all. Keith H, what's going on? Hey, Dad. Good morning. Yep, got Drew in the car. Where are we going, bud? Where are we going? New St. Lillian. And then, who are you going to see in New St. Lillian? Miss Cindy, Miss Chanel, Skylar, Molly, Jordan, Emma Grace. Yep. Who's going to pick you up? Mimi's going to pick you up later. Yes, she is. And you go to, where's Mimi take you on Monday? To Mimi's house. And then after Mimi's house, where do you go? To Drew's house. Yep. There's our day. Yep, that's our day. Do me a quick favor if you would smash that like button if you're here on YouTube. Again, a little unconventional today. My apologies. The in-transit edition running a little late, but just had a situation this morning during our normal live time, so I had to jump on a phone call. Anyway, as always, shout out to Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. You need an orthopedist, go to Brock. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. All that rain last week, boy, our phones were buzzing last week, man. Whew. Love to give you a free no obligation roofing inspection. Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. You got pain, call Crystal Poche at Restored Motions. Book a session, restoredmotions.com. And ProCharge EV, there's a Tesla right there. ProCharge EV charging stations. All right, y'all, let's wrap this thing up. Y'all have a great day. AFR3, we'll see you. Peace.